to Casually Dressed and Deep in Conversation with me, Greg Chalmers. CDDC is sponsored by Pizza Daddy, Lanarkshire's #1 American-style pizza parlour. To stay up to date on new flavours and promotions, then get connected on the socials. The Instagram handle is @RealPizzaDaddy and the website is www.thepizzadaddy.co.uk. To see what we're getting up to here at Casually Dressed, then you can find us on Instagram with the handle @CDDC Podcast, and on Twitter it is @PodcastCDDC. Also, as you're watching this on YouTube, then please hit those like and subscribe buttons. And with me this evening as my co-host is the most handsome man in Northern Ireland, Christopher Shields. How are you, sir?
I'm alright, mate, but I'm not going to shag you.
Thank Christ, because you don't like rapping it. Our guest this evening is an old friend of ours, an 11-time champion bodybuilder, Kirk O'Brien. How are you, mate?
How's it going, Greggy boy? Yes, all good. Thanks very much.
Good. I'm glad. How have you been getting on throughout COVID? Have you just been in the back garden lifting up tins of paint and all that?
Well, see, to be honest, I did struggle. I really did struggle to start with, especially mentally. With being so busy as a personal trainer, online coach, I'm usually in the gym 12 hours a day, 5-6 days a week, plus online is just non-stop at night time and weekends. So from going from that to pretty much nothing and having that completely taken away from you, not only your job but your lifestyle and your hobby, having that taken away from you was a mental impact on me. So it was a bit of a struggle. Yeah.
Do you feel like COVID has had like a serious adverse effect on the fitness industry as a whole then?
Oh, massively, absolutely massively. As you obviously know yourself, gyms are still not open in Scotland, and we've been in lockdown now for 5 months. And it's absolutely insane that they're open in other places like pubs, restaurants, non-essential shops, places that are a lot more dirtier and prone to catching diseases and infection than a gym that you can actually practice social distancing, where your benches are 1 metre or 2 metres apart and everybody's got a towel down and everything's wiped after and before, and so yeah, it has massively affected, especially with people like myself who are self-employed, who rely on the gyms being opened. Obviously as well, that I'm an online coach, which has been obviously lucky, but that also affected a lot more online clients as well, because people do need to be in a gym to still be coached by an online personal trainer. So obviously PT just went obviously totally out the window, and pretty much half, maybe even more than half my online clients had stopped as well. And they all were really apologetic and like they're really sorry because it's a snowball effect. But at the end of the day, like paying their bills and feeding their family is more important than paying me, obviously. Do you know what I mean? So you just need to kind of take it on the chin a wee bit. But it's just kind of happens to be one of those things. But yeah, it has massively affected financially as well as mentally as well as physically. So I feel really sorry for all the people who do work in the fitness industry right now, and obviously 90% of personal trainers out there are all self-employed, so it is a massive impact. Yeah.
Why are they not opening the gyms? What's the reason they've given?
They say they're saying it's not hygienic. They say gyms are dirty, it's prone to infection because of sweating and touching weights and yada 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 and all this stuff. But I just see when they opened pubs before they'd opened gyms, I just thought, honest to God, this is just absolutely ridiculous. Like sitting in a pub with 10 of your mates all getting mad with it and spitting and shouting and sharing shot glasses and pint glasses, and everybody standing together and you're in a small environment all grouped together. There's nothing more unhygienic about that than anything else. Do you know what I mean? So I just, it makes absolutely no sense to me. But what obviously it does make sense is because they're obviously doing it for the economy, because government don't make any money off the fitness industries or gyms. So do you know what I mean? So they're going to have tax on alcohol, and so this is why they're doing it. But they're not actually doing it for people's health and in their benefit. Do you know what I mean? It's just purely for government.
It's really fitting with the sort of Scottish culture, isn't it? That we'll open the pubs, but we'll not open the gyms. Do you know what I mean? Just to encourage folk to get steaming. Do you know what I mean? They're not doing an awful lot for the whole sick man of Europe title that we've got. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, it's the gyms. I'm obviously over Northern Ireland. The gyms over here opened up. Was it 2 weeks ago? 2 or 3 weeks ago they opened up, and it's like, I mean, it's helped me out massively. It helped me out loads just because it's about the only time I actually get any time with myself. But like you're saying, we're saying the gyms are like dirty and stuff. It's just not the case. It's not the case at all, because if anything, the gyms are kind of they're over egging it, because obviously there's this kind of over here that they're kind of really, really keen to go, no, look, there's cleaning stations everywhere, there's hand sanitizer all over the gaff, and like it's every bit of the gym floors like fucking gaffer taped out and stuff. You walk in here, walk in there, and you're kind of going like, and it's a bit strange at first, but you're not allowed to train with. One thing I don't agree with is they're saying everybody has to train individually, which for me is I don't think it's right, because I'm seeing young lads and they're picking up weights that are far too heavy for them. You know what I mean? And their body's convulsing on it, and you're kind of going, mate, what you on a squatting and the knees are coming in here, and you're like, you're getting injured just watching them, going, coming away going, AC, I've done my ACL, just watching somebody. I mean, it's a bit, but it's just not the case at all. The gym's being like too like dirty and stuff like that, because like you say, they're massively over egging it.
In our gym, the week before lockdown had happened, the gym had never been so clean. The cleaner was going about after every single person, cleaning it down, and there was a rule that you had to bring in your own towel and clean it down after you. And the gym had never been so clean. It was just constantly it was insane. Do you know what I mean? I was like, they should have been doing this all the time, to be honest. But no, I don't agree with them not being open at all. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, definitely.
So I've obviously known you for a long time, Kirk, and you've not always been this size. Because there's a photograph you put on your Instagram I had a wee look at. It was 10 years ago, my man. You're probably about as thick as one of your legs is now, right? Right, and I think it was that boys' holiday, mate, when it was just all the lads with their six packs. We all thought they were six packs at the time.
Was that the one with you, the boys with the board shorts and the headbands and stuff?
The board shorts have been doing their ankles.
I know. The blazing squad night out, that's what it was. But anyway, so in that period of time, obviously you've excelled at personal training, bodybuilding, the full nine. But what I want to know is, why bodybuilding? You could have done anything. You're a very talented dancer, a handsome young man to boot. So why bodybuilding?
Well, as you obviously knew, that's what I'd done when I knew you. I was doing dancing with all the boys, and we were doing really well at it, and we were doing it professionally. We were getting paid jobs, teaching in schools, had my own school at one point. But it was actually when I had moved to Australia when I was 20, that when I got there and I went with my wife Siobhan, when we got there, she was actually about a stone and a half heavier than what I was. So I was I'm 6'1" and I weighed 9 stone. Do you know what I mean? It was like any high winds, I would have been blown right off my feet. So and she was probably sitting about 10 and a half. So I just kind of thought, no, this is not right when your missus is heavier than you here. Do you know what I mean? So, and obviously, as you know, I was just skinny guy with abs, but it's your typical dancer body.
Yeah.
So once we got in Australia, I obviously realised that is just their lifestyle over there. Like, everybody is into their fitness. Every guy is buff. Every woman is in shape. It's what they do over there. It's like what they do first thing in the morning. It's what they do in their lunch. It's what they do after work. It's just the whole lifestyle. It's probably because of the sun. You do it yourself here. Do you know what I mean? It's just their lifestyle. So when I got over there, I get into the gym. I trained for about 6 months myself. When I got over there, I probably put on a good bit of weight myself, and then we were living down at Bondi Beach at the time, so we're training in a gym there, and then I moved into the city. We got a flat in the city, and we went into a fitness first gym. I started training there. A bodybuilder actually approached me was a personal trainer there. He was just starting off his business himself, and he came up to me and he said, "You're actually in quite good shape, but I'm quite happy to give you a push for free." He says, "What I want you to do is," I says, "I'll train you 3 times a week for free if you promote me," basically, kind of thing. So I was like, right, okay, I'll take whatever I can get, especially if it's free. So so he kind of taught me the kind of ropes and kind of got me into that kind of side of things. And I came back from Australia like a year later, and I was about 12 stone, 12 and a half, 12 stone or something. So I'd put on a good bit of weight in such a short space of time within a year, but it was just due to eating lots and kind of, to be honest, man, I didn't really know a lot about nutrition back then. It was mostly just eating as much as I could because I was your typical ectomorph body type and just lifting as heavy as I could, but lifting and training the right way. So when I got back from Australia, my passion for dance kind of just dwindled away. I came back and started teaching again, and as I said, tried to open my own school. But once I was in teaching kids, that my head was in the gym. It was where it was my getaway. It was because when I felt like I was going, obviously when I was going to dancing and going to teaching, and there was a stress, it was always kind of worrying, like I had to always come up with stuff. You're always under pressure. So when I felt like that, I just wanted to run away at the gym. Like that was my getaway. And because I was getting results and seeing results and other people were seeing results in me, it gave me that buzz and that drive to kind of keep kind of going. So so ever since I came back to Australia, I just kind of dwindled away from dance, and then just thought, no, my passion's into the gym. My passion's the gym, and just kind of really focused on that and pushed on that.
See, I also put on 2 stone in a year, but I didn't do any of the lifting, any of the other lifting weights. I just done the eating bit, and
You're just
I was really good at it.
Smuggling pies out of Greg's.
Put some good sessions in, mate. Put some good sessions in.
So, when you come back to Australia, at what point did you realise that you were going to make this your career and that you were going to start not just doing it but competing?
So so when I did get back, and I did obviously kind of keep at it and get right into it, like people then started to kind of ask me like what to do in the gym, or can I train with you, or how do you do this and how do you do that? And I was just training alongside people, helping people, obviously for free because I enjoyed it. And I thought, you know what, I actually really enjoy this. Like I would love to do this as a job. And obviously because I had a personal trainer in Australia, I thought, do you know what I mean? And the money was good, and plus that you get to do what you love to do. So it was a bonus. If I could have made the same money doing what I was doing but being a personal trainer, I would have been quite happy with that. Do you know what I mean? It was because it's what I enjoyed to do. So so I just thought I kind of want to maybe do this as a career. And at the time, it was probably about a year after I had got back, I had put on a wee bit more size that I seen, obviously started looking at Bodybuild magazine, started following bodybuilders on Instagram and getting right into it and following like all my idols and everybody that I looked up to. And then they brought out a category called men's physique, which is a category that I still compete in to this day, which is a more kind of you want to call it maybe a more subtle look, which makes it a more achievable look for someone that maybe that you're more than your average guy would want to look like, because a lot of people are intimidated by these big guys and it's maybe not what they want to look like. And do you know what I mean? They're maybe too big, or I don't want to look like that, and it's too big and they look uncomfortable and it's not what I fancy. So men's physique, they brought that in, so it's more of a beach body look. So I kind of, this only came out maybe 2013, this category, and I thought, do you know what, I could possibly maybe do that. And so I seen it on a magazine, and then obviously as you get through social media, you see like, oh, there's a show coming up. So Scotland had put on their first show, I think it was in 2013. My men's physique show was the first time it ever came to kind of UK and first time it came to Scotland. So I trained for that. Didn't really know too much about dieting. I was still training pretty good, but nutrition wise, you're just kind of following what everybody else was doing. Like you followed all your idols and all these other bodybuilders on social media. So I just kind of guessed my way through it. I only probably done about a 6-week cut. So basically, normally most bodybuilders do about a 16 to maybe a 12-week cut. That's kind of average. So you're talking 3 to 4 months to cut for a bodybuilding show.
See when you say cut. What do you mean? Like, is that like a dietary?
So basically, so basically strict diet. So you've got your off season and your competition season. So when you're bulking, that means your calories are going up. You're putting on lean muscle mass. You're trying to get bigger. But as that happens, obviously you put on a bit of body fat as well. So it's the process you need to go through to gain more size. So that is when you gain muscle. So when you start your competition prep, you start your cut, you then become in a calorie deficit. So you start bringing calories back down, you're stripping back the fat and revealing the muscle you've built in your off season.
Right.
So you do this for a long period of time. And the reason why you do it over a long period of time is so that you don't eat any muscle, you don't deteriorate, and you just chip away nice and slowly, and you try and preserve as much muscle as you can. So this is a kind of long process.
Right.
So that's kind of how it's usually that long period of time. So when I had done it, I didn't really know this, and I was already just a skinny guy with abs. So I just thought, I'll just cut for 6 weeks and see what happens. So I just kind of cleaned up my diet as best as I could. Knew that I look back at it, I was still eating stuff that I shouldn't have been eating, but so I entered my first show and I won. So I just kind of went through there, to be honest with you. So
just eating a bag of Monster Munch next to the stage.
I'm pretty sure, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure I was eating because at the time I was still a joiner by trade and still teaching and stuff and dance. And bodybuilding was just a hobby. So but I'm pretty sure I was still eating Mars bars and stuff about 4 weeks into my show. So you never get away with that these days.
No. So see, when you said they introduced that that category, how many categories are there?
So with bodybuilding, oh god, it's kind of got a lot bigger over the years, but so there's a lot of women categories and there's a lot of male categories. So from males, so you've got men's physique, which is my category, which is the board shorts. So basically it covers the quads, so you see from the knee down. And the reason why that is to show the beach look. It's not that you don't train your legs, it's just so that it's just to give that more of a natural beach look. And then you've got classic bodybuilding, which is quite similar to men's physique, but they wear trunks. So it's still the kind of same size and same shape, but they just show your legs. And then you get bodybuilding weight classes. So it depends on what federation that you're in. So sometimes it could just be weight classes, whether it's, so with other federations like UKBFF, it used to be weight classes where it was like under 70 kilo, under 80 kilo, under 90, under 100 or over 100. So now what they do is in the competitions that I compete in, it's more kind of height classes. So the bodybuilders go by height classes, or it's all done by height. So they're called like class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4. So it goes from like the smallest bodybuilder to the tallest bodybuilder. And the reason why they do that is because putting a 6'5" guy with a 5'5" guy, he's always going to make the other guy look smaller, no matter how big that other guy is. So they all try to put everybody. So it's the same for my category. I'm men's physique. So men's physique gets split into height classes as well. So they try and put the tall guys with the tall guys, the medium guys with the medium guys, and the small guys with the good. So everybody's kind of equally judged, because at the end of the day, the tall guy is always going to look bigger. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's kind of how they do it. And for the females, it goes from bikini, trained bikini, tone figure, athletic figure, and trained athletic. So these are all kind of different categories depending on how much muscle the female has. So bikini's kind of your starting, and then you've got like trained figure, which is your more harsh looking, if you want to call it. So that's maybe where the most guys would be like, oh god, that woman looks like a guy. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of depends on kind of what. But usually it's not really. It's obviously what you've genetically you're gifted with puts you into what. I'm not naturally a big guy, as you know, Greg. I was a very, very skinny guy, so I could never be one of those big monsters that you see on Mr. Olympia. Do you know what I mean? And most of the guys are over 5'5". Do you know what I mean? They're all 5'5". They're all really short guys. Very rarely that you'll get a bodybuilder over 5'10", 5'11". Do you know what I mean? That's kind of your tall guys. So that's why they're kind of fitted to that category, because the smaller you are, your muscles are different. So basically with shorter guys, with taller guys, we've kind of got longer muscles, so it's smaller to grow. So with shorter guys, they grow more. Do you understand?
Yeah, totally.
So basically, shorter guys are normally guys that will look bigger and will kind of grow bigger and stuff like that. So they'll go for the kind of bigger classes. So that's most of the shorter guys are all the kind of big bodybuilders. And then obviously the taller guys will fit like classic physique and men's physique and stuff like that. So it all depends on your genetics and how you look and what you're suited to, how long you've been doing it. Obviously, the longer you've been doing it, the more muscle mass you will have to go up, move up categories.
See, if you're like you were talking about being off season and stuff like that, how much of a change in your physique is there between off season and then like competition time?
But because of my job, I do need to stay in decent shape all year round, because you are technically a walking billboard for your clients and for your followers and stuff like that. So you always kind of need to stay in decent shape all year round. But yeah, there is a massive difference. So at my biggest, my off season, I'll maybe sit at probably 16.5 stone, 17 stone at my biggest, and then on stage I'll maybe sit at 14 and a half. So it's quite a massive weight drop. Like I have there's been times I have dropped 2.5, maybe pushing 3 stone, but roughly 2 to 2.5 stone I'll drop to compete in a show, and that's me staying in good condition in my off season. There's some guys like the bigger guys will maybe go up to 20, 22 stone, and then they'll maybe cut down to maybe 16 or 17 stone. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and that's why you need up to 16 weeks to 4 months to cut, because it's a slow process. Do you know what I mean? And you know yourself, it's not easy to lose fat. But the thing is, that's the thing about bodybuilding. It's the only it's only sport in the world, or it's the only thing in the world that you need to build muscle and lose fat at the same time, if that makes sense. It's like, so, or even maintain muscle while you lose fat. Whether most people like just want to lose weight will just like run, do hundreds of cardio and eat less, but in that process they will lose muscle at the same time they will lose fat. But our job, we need to train and eat and be smart with our cardio to try and hold every single bit of muscle that we have to maintain what we've built over the months and years, or it will just all go to waste. So it's a long, slow process, but you need to be really smart with your training. It's not just eat salad and go on the treadmill. Do you know what I mean? There is a science behind it. There is a lot of science behind it. That different stuff that you need to do to try and preserve what you've built.
So if you're doing a cut, what's your like a sort of your diet? What would be a sort of typical diet for that?
So a typical diet. My off season, I'm pretty good, as I said, all year round. I don't eat crazy bad, but if I feel like something, I'll have a cheat meal once a week, stuff like that. That's not bad. But when it comes to prep,
right.
When it comes,
just once. Right, okay.
That's where you're going right.
Sorry, that's where I'm going wrong. I'm having 6 cheat meals and one. I'm 1 on, 6 off. Right, got you. Right,
one a day. One a day.
Right, okay, right. One a day.
Right, sorry, Kirk. What were you saying?
So and then when it comes to prep, basically everything just gets cleaned up completely. So it'll just be basic. I'll take you through my typical day. If I'm prepping, you'll wake up, you'll really have porridge and eggs. Say 7 o'clock in the morning, I'll go to the gym, train maybe 3-4 clients, and I'll have maybe chicken or rice or fish and rice. Then I'll train, then I'll have a post-workout shake, and then maybe have chicken and rice or fish and rice again, or maybe potatoes, or sometimes at a later stage I'll have red meat. I'll still have red meat, so I'll still have steak and lean beef mince and stuff like that. And further out, but as I get closer, I like to really clean it up and just stick with white meats. As I get closer, it's because white meats digest a lot better and they digest faster. So red meats are kind of slow release, so it's better for cutting, and they're a higher fat content as well. Red meats. So chicken and fish is kind of the best thing to cut on when it comes to kind of meat sources and stuff. And I'll just go between rice and potatoes really. When it comes to that, and obviously veg with each meal. Sometimes I'll still have like my Greek yogurt and stuff at night, but that'll come out, as I said, closer to maybe 6 weeks out. I'll take my dairy out of my diet completely, because that dairy takes long to digest and stuff like that as well, and it's fat content and stuff. So basically take all that out, and it's just super clean food, and eat maybe 7 times a day, but it's spread out every 3 hours. And everything's kind of timed and everything's weighed out as well. So each week the calories drop each week as well. So it's not the same food. So I do change it up. I just eat whatever I feel like. But when it comes to prep, I'm very old school with my bodybuilding. When it comes to prep, I do keep it simple. You hear the old chicken and rice, but believe it or not, it works. Do you know what I mean? But when it comes to my clients and it comes to my off season, I give everybody variety and I give myself variety. Do you know what I mean? But when it comes to want to be the best and look the best, you need to be super strict and sacrifice what you really want to eat and just go for it.
So I take it no drinking.
Absolutely not. No.
You look at me like, what do you fucking think, you dick?
No, absolutely not.
Not even like vodka and soda and lime and that. There's no calories in it.
Not at all. So basically, alcohol lowers your testosterone levels and elevates estrogen levels. So
I wonder where these tits are coming from.
Exactly. So see your burger tits and stuff like that. That's where that's high estrogen levels. So that's alcohol consumption and bad diet and stuff like that. So but no alcohol at all. So usually if I'm competing, I'm mostly competing all year round. So very rarely I'll maybe have a drink handful of times a year. Literally, I could count with my one hand how many times I'll have a drink. But obviously, it's when it's my time off in between shows. If I go on holiday, I will have a drink and stuff. At holiday, Christmas time, I will have a drink. But when I'm on prep, you're on prep, so there's no alcohol, no bad food, no fast food, and it is a very, very strict lifestyle, and it is a lot of sacrifice, and it is a very, very selfish sport. But as I said, if you want to be the best and look the best, you need to sacrifice these things.
So, just come back to the competition stuff. Is it? I've never seen a bodybuilding competition. I've obviously seen bodybuilders before, right? So take me through the competition. Is there like phases? Is it just like everybody's all in at the beginning and they go, right, you and you're through, big man, you're in the bus on the way home, and then it goes through to the next round? Is that what it's like?
That's it pretty much. Bus ticket up the road.
Validate your parking, my man. Fuck off.
That would take some balls to be like some wee guy going, no, too small. Be like, what?
It is a lot of people are against bodybuilding, and not just because of what's involved in it, but because it's so critical. It's so basically telling you how shite you are right in front of your face, basically. Do you know what I mean? And you're standing in front of thousands of people while you're getting a judge to tell you basically you're not good enough. Do you know what I mean?
It's no different than Miss World or modelling.
See, to be honest, it is very, very similar. Yeah, it is very, very similar. Obviously, you don't need to say, I'm going to
world
give money a charity or anything like that. Do you know what I mean?
My name's Kirk. My name's Kirk, and I just want world peace.
But yeah, so as I said, you can, depending on what category it is, so each category comes out together. So you could have, depending on how busy the show is, so you could be up against 20, 30 other guys standing beside you on stage. So bodybuilding gets judged on size, proportion, symmetry, and condition.
Symmetry?
So you need to, symmetry, yeah. So you need to make sure your body's symmetrical, basically, yeah. So you need to make sure you get all your pecs to the same size and all your abs are in line, and do you know what I mean?
How do you make sure your abs are in line?
So that's just a genetic thing. That was just an example. Do you know what I mean? It's a genetic thing. So believe it or not, everybody does have abs. Do you know what I mean? Everybody has them. It's just your body fat that covers them. So so it's whatever you've got. It's just, so some people genetically only have a 4-pack, some people genetically have an 8-pack, some people have a 10-pack. It's just genetic, whatever you've got. But yeah, so it does go to be the more symmetrical person does normally win, and it usually comes to like a good core. Do you know what I mean? That's when you see this in or your back or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's where everything's kind of looks in proportion. But yeah, that's pretty much how you get judged. So they bring you all out together. They'll maybe, if it's a busy show, 20, 30 people, they'll maybe bring 5 at a time, judge them, put them back. 5 at a time, judge them, put them back. And then what they do is it's called first call out. So basically what this means is if you're in the first call out, you're in the top 5 is what you want to be in that first call out. So basically, if you're not in that first call out, you'd be as well packing up your bag and getting the bus home, basically. So, so that's what you're looking for. So they call you out again. They'll do say it's the last 5 again. So say it is top 5 or top 3 in the show, depending whatever it is. They call you again, and then so basically, depending on what category, as I said, that you're in, it depends on the poses that you do. So I'm men's physique, so we'll do quarter turns, which is just face the front, face the side, face the back, face the side again. So that's your quarter turn. So they'll talk you through that. Then they've got like front double bicep, they've got back double bicep, they've got side obliques, and they've got abs. So as they call out this, what position that you need to do is what you need to do at the time, as well as everybody else is doing the same thing. And it's whoever looks best in that position basically is obviously who will win, the winner. So yeah, so it can be quite critical, yeah, it can be quite, do you know what I mean? So it can be quite intimidating as well. It's because it's like you're busting your arse for all year, and then you do a 4-month cut to go on stage and you don't even get a look at. Do you know what I mean? It can be quite harsh. Do you know what I mean? And my personal opinion, it's a lot of sacrifice to do to not really get anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Some people that have not maybe done it yet are just doing it for the love because it's what they want to try and what to do. But once they get into it, they'll realise that, God, this is not worth it if you've no got it. So my personal opinion is I don't think you should personally get into it or do it unless you've genetically got it or you've got the gift to actually maybe get somewhere with it and go somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think the only reason why I've done it for so long is because I have been doing so well and I have getting closer and closer to turning pro each year. So that's what's kind of driven me to do it. But if I wasn't getting that, I wouldn't be putting myself through this every year to get a knockback. Do you know what I mean? So it's a lot of sacrifice.
I suppose as well, it's like you say, there's obviously like kind of categories that you're judged on, but ultimately it's just down to somebody's opinion, really, as well.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, it's just down to what somebody values more, or somebody going, well, I think he's more symmetrical, and I'm going, no, definitely him. Yeah. I mean, it must be so hard to go and kind of get to a certain point, and you're like, I've got myself in the best possible shape. I've obviously clearly not me, but and you're looking left and right. Yeah, I mean, and you're going, I'm in the best shape on this stage.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
and then Poindexter behind the desk with the clipboard's gone. No, I don't know why. I just imagine all judges have got the wee half moon glasses and just kind of look over.
It's John Lennon judging fucking bodybuilding.
I don't know why. That's just what I've got in my head. Like Danny DeVito with wee half moon glasses, just kind of like that.
But I suppose it's the same as dancing or anything. Do you know what I mean? It's the exact same. If you're like, I mean, I've seen you in a cypher a couple of times, Kirk, and but it is. Listen, mate, I'll still get some of the old videos. Yes, yeah. I could put you to shame, son. But yeah, it is just people's opinion, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that it's actually that's what I was going to ask you. It's obviously quite you've got to be mentally tough. And you've got to have a certain type of motivation and focus to be able to do what it is that you do, right? So, see when you've got 30 guys who have all got that same focus, motivation, and that burning desire to be the best inside them. See backstage, does it ever get a bit tasty? Do you know what I mean? Somebody's like, check Stevie's triceps. You build them by combing your hair, you prick.
Do you know what? There has been, it's not too bad with the guys, but I have heard obviously when I've been backstage with my female clients and stuff, getting them ready, that there can be a lot of bitchiness, and there will be some comments floated about, or some growls, or some, do you know what I mean? You know, it's quite, but when it comes to the guys, I've not really came across anything really that bitter, because at the end of the day, we're all in the same boat, and we've all sacrificed everything to be here. So the support can be pretty good, and it can be humble, but obviously if you don't get the result you want, there can be a wee bit of bitterness as well. So especially if a guy beats you and you're like, you're no better than me, mate. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So what are you getting? Do you know, it's one of those ones, but I personally not really experienced anything that bad when it comes to backstage, but I've heard stories, that it can be a bit bitter, but bodybuilding is quite a close community. It can also be a bitchy community, but in the industry, but everybody's quite close because we're all into the same thing, and everybody knows how hard it is. And there's a statistic to say that there's supposedly only 99.8% of the world's population cannot compete in a bodybuilding show. So it's quite like anybody can go to the gym. That's not the hard part. It's the mental discipline you need to put yourself through, and the condition you need to get yourself in and physically step on that stage. It's a very small percentage of the world's population that can actually physically do it and go through with it. So everybody kind of knows how hard it is. So you don't really get a lot of hassle off of people when it comes to stuff like that that's in the same boat as you.
Because I think if it kicked off at a bodybuilding show, folk are getting up. Do you know what I mean? Tables getting thrown at each other.
I mean, like tempers must be. I mean, like people get hangry at the best of times, but you imagine you've been doing it for 16 weeks, man. You know what I mean? And
I
you're
just want a fucking cheeseburger.
sit going,
Fuck you.
There's nothing worse when you're sitting there and your category's not for another 4 hours and there's some guy's been on and he's eating a fucking donut beside you, man.
He's going, just really enjoying it, just in the zone.
This is better than smack.
Honestly, it's insane. Like, but it's mad because you've been craving these things for such a long time, and you all you do is you sit and like everybody competes. You understand what I'm talking about. You sit on Instagram and you sit on and all you type in food porn and you just watch all these cakes and donuts and every day you do it every single day and you think, right, I'm going to get this. And a lot of people, I used to do it, but I don't do it so much anymore because it leads to binging after a show, which you don't want to do. But they'll buy hundreds of stuff in after a show, so it's all sitting there. But see, when the moment you walk off that stage, every single craving you've craved for those 12 to 16 weeks completely goes because you know you can have it. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
So,
okay, yeah.
So that's actually a technique I do with my clients where I allow them one cheat meal a week. So if I say to you, Greg, you're not allowed to eat in bad anymore, you'd be like, oh, fuck you. Like, no, I want to go and eat something. Do you know what I mean? Or you start snacking on the night. But if I give them that gateway, if I give them that bit of leeway, so if they know by the end of the week I can go and have X, Y, and Z for that one meal, it keeps everybody kind of at that kind of that kind of mental state, mental discipline as well. So so that's kind of so as soon as you walk off stage, all those cravings actually completely go. Do you know what I mean?
But I don't, mate. See right after a show, right, and you just go into your car, you sit there, and you're driving along the road. I'm painting a beautiful picture here, gentlemen. The sun's in your hair. The sun's in your hair. What's that about? Rewind. The wind's in your hair. The sun's in your face. And in the distance, you just see this big yellow M. Right? Yank. Fuck. I've heard the big Tasty's back. Right? You drive in. You just look at the guy and just go, Tasty me. That first bite of a big Tasty after I'm presuming you like big Tasties, Kirk. I'm just talking about it from my point of view because I fucking love a big Tasty. I don't know if you can tell. The first bite, I just think that would be the most majestic thing on the planet. You'd just be like, I think you'd probably hear the McDonald's theme music. The wee guy in the shop's going, God, son, eat that fucking thing.
Everything's going in slow motion and about you.
I've had some moments after it where I have bit into some and some stuff that hasn't worked in a while. It starts to work again.
My mozzarella dippers here.
Get to the bedroom.
So, see with the competitions, is there like a circuit? Do you know what I mean? Like, you know with the tennis, right? And the American Open, and then it goes to France and that. Is it kind of like that with bodybuilding as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I said, depending on what federation you go for. So, when I first started competing, I went with UKBFF. But a few years ago, that kind of went downhill. There was a lot of criticism about them. They were supposed to give out pro cards when they never. Then they got their right to give out pro cards taken away from them. So everybody moved away from UKBF and everybody started going to PCA, which is who I compete with now as an amateur, as well as competing with IFBB. IFBB is the highest bodybuilding federation you can compete in. So that's the highest level. So amateur and pro. So if you're an IFBB pro, you can't get any higher than that. It's like being
Premier League stuff.
Premier League, yeah. You can't get any higher than that. So it's like the highest paid as well, stuff like that. So so as an amateur, so I compete with PCA, like local shows, I say like through UK, Scotland, England, stuff like that. So I've competed with them for the last couple of years now. I've actually won every PCA show that I've done, and then just over there I won the British with them as well. But in between that, I've been competing with IFBB, and the reason why I'm competing with IFBB is to achieve my pro card, so to achieve my pro status. So it's only a federation that can give that. So I've been competing at FBB now the last 2 or 3 years as well. But that is a hard federation. So that's against people from all over the world that everybody in your category is going for that one card. So you've got all your height classes in my category, all going for. So you need to win your class plus then you need to win overall. Wow. So you're technically up you could be up against I think at one point, one English show that I done, a London show that I done, an IFBB show, there was about 200 guys in it, and only one person gets a pro card. And these people are from all over the world, so the chances are very, very, very like high to get one. It's not easy. So, but I've been doing that. But I've won 2 IFBB shows now and got into 2 overalls. And it's been always between me and the other guy. The last year that happened twice. So I've literally been between me and the other guy to get my pro card. So this is why I'm trying to keep pushing. I've been so close now, and I will be, if I do get it, I will be the first Scottish IFBB pro men's physique ever. Wow. So which will be a good title to have.
Totally, history book stuff, mate. History books.
That's it,
so as you were saying about it does go from, so depending on, you've got your kind of qualifiers all through the year with PCA, so they start from August and go right up until October, and then the British finals is in October for that. So you need to qualify in a regional, if you want to say. So you need to at least make top 3. When you're sure, get top 3 to qualify for a British invite, and then compete in Britain to be the best in Britain. And then if you place in Britain, then you can get a world invite and then compete in the world. So that's with PCA. But IFBB is just like the one show where everybody's fighting to get that pro card, which is my main goal right now. So as an amateur level, I've kind of achieved as much as I can. Amateur level, there's nothing that I've not done now. So I've won every show I can, and I'm at the best of what I do at my federation in UK. Mm-hmm. But I'm just on that tipping edge now. We're trying to become an IFBB pro, which is the next step up for me.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing, man. So here's a question for you: what does it take to become a winner?
Well, that's a good question. What does it not take? Put it that way.
That's an even better answer. There we go.
Answer the question with a question.
Piers Morgan.
What does it not
right
take?
Back at you, Greg.
It does, as I said to you before, you do sacrifice a lot, and it's a very, very selfish sport, and you do need to be really seriously mentally disciplined to be in this sport and to be at the top of your game in this sport. And you kind of need to kind of blank out everybody else and everybody else around you, and try not look at what everybody else is doing, how everybody else is looking, but I still have that kind of secret competition to kind of keep you driven in the gym and keep you surrounded by other people that's going to keep you kind of pushing. But you do, it's a massive sacrifice, and I've gave up a lot in the last 7-8 years. It's a love-hate thing. Like, I hate it, but also I love it because you get the end result. So as I say, if I wasn't getting the result, I would not be doing it. I absolutely would not be doing it, because so many times you've not back parties, you can't go out for meals, you can't go out for drinks, you can't meet friends. It's like you're in a strict routine, and it's just constant. You need to train. When it comes to prepping, you're training twice a day, 6-7 days a week. It's constant. So and it's hard work, because you're not only just getting up and going to the gym, which anybody can do, but you're, as I say to you, you're almost like you're not starving yourself, but you're making yourself in a calorie deficit. So you're making yourself having less and less energy all the time. So you're constantly tired, and you need to mentally push through that tiredness. So when you can imagine you being at your tiredest and you're absolutely shattered and you're dying to go to your bed, that's what we feel like pretty much all the time when we're coming up for the last 4 weeks of a show, and we still need to get up and go to the gym, or still need to get up and do our cardio, or whatever it is we need to do. So it is major. It's more mental than physical, absolutely, because the physical part, I don't find that hard. Like, I can do cardio, I can easily push an hour and a half in the gym, weight training. That bit I enjoy, and I'm quite passionate about that, and I enjoy the challenge, and I love competing with myself. I don't ever compete with anybody else in the gym. I just compete with myself, whether each week I try and beat myself. So if it's by a rep, or it's by an extra kilo on the bar, or whatever it is, I keep pushing that, and I keep working towards that every week in the gym, and every month and every year, and just always striving to look better and want to be better, and always have that goal, always have that vision of what it is that you want to achieve. What is this end goal? What is it that you want to, what does that end package want to look like? So you need to keep visualising that and keep pushing that. And I've had days where I've cried on prep, I've had mental breakdowns. It's like, you're just, why am I doing this? You ask yourself every day, why the hell am I putting myself through this? And it's as I said, it's a very selfish sport, so your other half's affected, your kids are affected, your family's affected, because you need to be selfish. You need to give up all that socialising and interacting, and the last thing you want to do is, sounds bad, but the last thing you want to do is take your way into the park when you come in for do you know what I mean, for training 2 hours in the gym and doing your cardio and you're eating very little calories. You just want to go to your bed. So it's having that balance where try to live your life and try and be a family man, try and be a parent, try and be a husband, try and do all those things, but also you need to be a professional athlete as well at the same time. It's trying to separate that, but also kind of it's a massive sacrifice to everybody, and it's hard because it's, as I said, you kind of go out for dinner, so you kind of take the other half out for dinner, and you kind of meet family, so it's hard. So it's hard on them as well. Do you know what I mean? And obviously because you're as I said, Chris, you said you're hangry all the time. You're just a money cunt.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Constantly. Do you know what I mean? You're just.
Yeah.
And it's nobody else's fault, but you're on. You're just hungry and you're tired. And you know what you're like that yourself when you're hungry and you're tired. So you're like that constantly for weeks and weeks and weeks at an end. It only gets worse as the closer you get to a show, where you're pretty much a walking zombie, that you don't even have a personality. Where you can't. It's hard to crack a smile and everything. Someone asks you how you are, and you're just like a robot. And I've been doing it that long now. I'm just like fine. But you just want to greet man and curl up inside.
Mate, this doesn't sound like a good life choice.
It's mental. And it's even saying it, now you're just like, what the fuck am I even doing? it's absolutely
Mom will just go out and get steaming, right?
but see, to be honest, you see, because you do that, you do appreciate nights out more. You do appreciate when you go out for nice dinners, because you'll go out for a dinner tomorrow and you'll not even think twice about it. You sit down, you eat it, and you go home. You'll not even think anything about it. But once you've been through all that and put yourself through that, you sit down at that meal and you appreciate every single bite. You just love everything. You get a night out and you're just loving life because you've not done anything in like 2 or 3 months, and you're having a laugh with your mates and you can have a drink. So you do appreciate the smaller things in life because you have sacrificed them. So it does have its pros and cons, as I said, but it is a massive sacrifice choice, and I would say to people, if they ever fit any, like, it's really something you need to think about, what you want to give up in your life, and it's something that, are you going to be good at it? Because if you're not going to be good at it, there's no point in you sacrificing it.
Is there a history of mental illness in bodybuilding?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Probably a lot of people actually get into it because they do have mental illness, which, because, as you know, training releases endorphins, makes you happier. It's just, you feel good. Everybody feels good when they leave the gym. Do you know what I mean? Or it's they want to get away from their other half, or they want to get away from their kids. But yeah, you actually find that people that do have depression or have had mental illness or have had issues, that they do get into bodybuilding and stuff like that. But probably coming away from it, you probably have some mental issues as well. As I say to you, like, I was a lot affected because it was taken all away from me, because I don't really know any different bar the gym, because, as I said, the gym's my work, my life, and my hobby. So having that taken away from me, it was just like, hold on a minute here. Do you know what I mean? It was a bit of a shock, like a real shock. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you've been doing something for 8 years now properly, then taken away from you, it's a bit of an eye-opener.
Yeah, you just don't suppose you get many shy bodybuilders, because they all kind of have to have that sort of look at me gene kind of ingrained into them, really. I mean, like, you had it obviously beforehand with dancing and stuff like that. It was just something, you performing was just one of those things. But it was also something I was thinking about, you know, obviously, like, because, like, you had that kind of look at me gene and you've come from a performance background. Did that help you when it come to when you're actually on stage and, like you say, you've got to transition between different poses and stuff like that?
Oh,
I'm not saying like you've gone in and started popping and all that.
Just waving in
it. I've done that once, actually, when I forgot. I get entered into, I was doing men's physique, but I was told, long story, I was too big for it and had to move into bodybuilding. Bodybuilding, you need to have a routine. So I had never done that before in my life, so I just went out and busted a few moves, and that's all I could remember that I'd done. But I've done that before. But no, absolutely, it did. It's helped me massively. I don't think I would be, if I never done dance, I probably wouldn't be where I am with bodybuilding today, to be honest with you. And it's probably because of the whole stage presence thing. But but that's one thing that I always get told that I'm really good at and I'm known for, is my stage presence. And actually, people come to me now as a posing coach, and I help people with their posing and stage presence. So I've been doing that for a while now, but that's probably my strong point. It's probably stronger than my actual physique, to be honest with you, is my actual stage presence and posing. So no, dancing definitely helped with that, and I think people would always say, "Oh, how can you do that? How can you do those moves? How do you make it look so easy?" And I'm like, it's just I've been dancing professionally for like 7-8 years before it. Do you know what I mean? But so it has definitely helped, especially confidence wise and being on stage, because you know yourself when I used to perform as a dancer, you just kind of turn into a different person. You just leave who you are. And as soon as you walk on that stage, you just put on a mask and you just become someone else. So it's very similar to bodybuilding. You need to kind of have that stage presence and confidence. But dancing absolutely did help me with my bodybuilding. And I probably wouldn't be where I am today. And I probably wouldn't have won as many shows if I wasn't as good as posing.
That's fair. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It does,
there's one thing I wanted to talk to you about, Kirk, and it's the kind of taboo subject of people using performance enhancing substances during bodybuilding. And see with the competitions, do they test for it? And like, can you tell? You just think he was that big last week.
like it happens over, bro.
So look, I've taken some tests. I've been fucking taking a jagged ass. Look at me.
Some guy just go that, and then all of a sudden going,
I'm wearing a ground sheet.
Walking in 10 stone, walking out like that. You been at Peds?
Aye, so yeah, Peds. So it's a very, very grey area in bodybuilding, but it's also not, because, so as you were saying, does it get tested? So with bodybuilding, all the shows that I compete in are a non-tested federation. But there is a couple of federations out there. I think one's called UKDFB and VMBF, which are drug tested shows.
It's a lot.
So if you compete in those shows, you need to be a natural bodybuilder, because you will get tested to make sure that you're a natural bodybuilder. So that allows people that want to stay natural and compete as natural, allow them all to compete together and not be cheated or whatever how people want to call it. So it's quite a grey area. It's not talked about, but believe it or not, there's probably about, especially to this day, and this is probably including females, probably about 95% of people all take anabolic steroids.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That's mental, man.
Yeah.
95%. But do you know, right? So I kind of get it, because if you're going into a competition and somebody's taking something that makes them look a certain way, you're never going to beat them, because they're doing something. So it's kind of like if you can't beat them, then join them scenario.
Yeah, basically. So absolutely. It's so everybody that you'll see, every fitness person you follow on Instagram, every bodybuilder you've ever looked at, every fitness model you've ever looked at, every guy you've seen in front of a magazine, every single one of them will be taking steroids. Every single one of them. It's just not talked about, because it's the health industry, it's the fitness industry, so it can't be talked about. It can't be explicit. So, but it is underground. But everybody knows everybody takes it, and everybody knows everybody takes it. It's just not allowed to be spoken out with, because it's not promoting health.
Right. Okay.
Just a big muscly elephant in the room.
So basically, like, because there's all these supplement companies and stuff, like you've got like all these guys, and they'll be like. They'll have their big sponsors paying them to promote their protein, their creatine, their BCAAs and amino acids and all this stuff, and they'll be like, look how good the shape I am. I just won Mr. Olympia. Like, come and buy those BCAAs and come and get this protein. I'm like, no, mate, it's the test and train that you took. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing to do with BCAAs or the amino acids. Do you know what I mean?
This is just amino acids.
That's right.
So
fucking just paying for expensive piss. Yeah, I mean, that's it, isn't it? Take all this stuff and you're just going to pee it all out.
It's just not talked about, but yeah, pretty much every single person in this industry. You probably find the only people aren't the people that are maybe just getting into it. Maybe the kind of younger boys and maybe kind of first time girls and stuff, but even the girls in the bikini categories are still taking stuff. Do you know what I mean? Nothing crazy, but everybody takes stuff, whether it's not even anabolic, even if it's like cutters or anything like that, that's going to help them, going to help their physique in any way. But it's it is a kind of grey area, but everybody knows everybody does it. It's just not openly talked about, and it's not banned. It's not illegal to do it in bodybuilding. It's part of bodybuilding. It's just not allowed to be spoke about and being put on magazines and advertised on telly. It's just, but it is a massive part. But if you do want to compete as a natural athlete, then there is federations for that you can go and get tested. But it's too much. It's too much money to test for anabolic steroids. That's why, hence, like, it's only people like the Olympia and stuff like that will get tested for it, but it's a lot of money. So bodybuilding shows can afford to do it, but it's a massive part, and it's done as well because in the day people don't want to see average Joes. Like, everybody can see an average Joe, so people want to see freaks. People want to see physiques that they could only dream of, like things that they just look absolutely unreal. So this is what people pay to look at. This is what people pay to see, and if everybody's doing it, it's not cheating. And at the end of the day, it's not really cheating anyway, because you get guys that are like, oh, if I took gear, I would look like you. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't, mate. No, you wouldn't. You would look that. You couldn't look like me if you tried, mate. You don't have the mental discipline. You don't train like me. You don't eat like me. You don't. Like I've been in my gym 7 years now, and I know guys that have all taken gear that whole time, and they've looked the exact same size as they looked like 7 years ago. And it's because they have no clue on training. They have no clue on diet. Like, they know absolutely nothing about even what they're taking or putting in their body. So they just think, I'm going to take gear, and that's what's going to make me big. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, it's an absolute fact that if you don't diet right or train right, nothing will happen. It's not. Basically, what it does is it just speeds up the growth process. It speeds up your recovery. It speeds up your recovery, so you grow faster. So what you would maybe achieve in a year, you will achieve it in 3 to 6 months. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it just speeds up that healing process, that recovery. It doesn't take it to make you big. It's everything else that goes with that is the stuff that makes you who you are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's there as it's called a supplement for a reason, because it's there to supplement what you're actually doing. If you're not doing the diet, and if you're not living properly or eating properly, it's like you can't out-train a bad diet. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just like, because believe me, I've tried it for years, and I can tell you, it doesn't work, people. It doesn't.
Exhibit A, ladies and gentlemen.
Mate, honestly, the amount of times I've been like, I have done an hour in the gym, I'm going to get a kebab.
I have worked hard for that.
I have worked hard. I don't care if I've consumed 3,000 calories. I walked off a solid 650 in that. So
that's exactly people's problem. That's why they don't get it, because they think because they went to the gym that day they can eat what they want, but they don't realise that the input to the output. Do you know what I mean? They don't realise that their input's 10 times the amount what they've put out. Do you know what I mean? So
exactly.
Do you know, Kirk, sorry, carry on, Chris.
Sorry. Yeah. So my mate, who lived next door to me when I was living in when I was in the army, he was PT, he was physical training course, PT course. So what he used to do is, obviously with soldiers, a lot of guys just eat shite, and like, if they're not in an active role, they could be kind of you've got a lot of fat soldiers out there, right? And what they used to do is they used to do these courses, obviously, to try and educate people on the diet. Like, and he used to run these courses, and one of the things he used to do was, there was like a wee like industrial estate, and it had like a Costa and a McDonald's and all that sort of stuff there. So what he used to do was used to get everybody on camp, like, meet at a certain point in camp, and he's like, right, we'll go and walk. And they walked like maybe 5 miles. We walked 5 miles out, and then everybody had like a wee Fitbit or like a heart rate monitor sort of thing, so they could calculate how many calories they've actually burned in that walk. So they've walked for a couple of hours, and then they'll go, right, we'll sit and we'll get a coffee, and like, so people are going, oh, well, I've just walked couple of hours, I'll have a caramel latte, I'll have a wee bit of cake, I'll do that. And you know what I mean? And they're going, he's going, well, how many calories have you actually burnt? He's going, well, I've actually done 200. You know what I mean? And they go, well, guess what, big man? that's 1,000 calories that you've just consumed there.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but it's not until he laid it out like that to some people, they're kind of going, What do you mean? My 45-minute walk doesn't do it.
Because it's not even. It's just lack of knowledge. That's all it is. People just don't understand, and because 100%. I've been in it so long, I've been in this industry so long now that you just expect people to know, and I still get stupid questions to this day, and I'm like, are you actually being serious? Like people like text me like, oh, like midnight, like, oh, how much water do I put in my protein shake? And I'm like, the fuck does it matter how much water you put in your protein shake?
How watery do you like it?
You know what I mean? And it's just like, and it's just people generally just have no common sense and just don't really know. But you expect them to know, but why would they know if they've never been taught? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a bit of a shame, but there's a lot of people out there that doesn't have any knowledge, and they are just wasting their time.
Yeah.
Going to the gym and not knowing what they're eating and training wrong and eating wrong, and it's a shame, because if they just had someone with a bit of guidance, even like myself, then they would get where they want to be 10 times faster. Do you know what I mean? But I think especially with a lot of guys, it's an ego thing as well. They don't want to help off another guy. I know what I'm doing, and do you know what I mean? But it's everybody can learn. Do you know what I mean?
I think also as well, there's a lot of like misinformation out there.
Yes.
As well. Yeah, I mean, and people come out and be like, "Oh, guys, like." Juice Plus and that. Let's get on. This is it all. This is all you're ever going to need in this wee shake here. And you're going, like, I mean, look at me, like, and you're going, don't think that's right. But then something about you go, but I've not tried it, so it might. You know what I mean, and then it just people end up down this rabbit hole of going, sorry, I'll just take that shake and fish in a rice cake, and then I mean, and then that's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's like this. It's our. I see the word I'm looking for. It's people are just so doped. Whatever they see, they believe. Like that's just totally. Like it's just whatever they see on social media, whatever they see on the news. It's just like right. That's what it must be because that's what that guy said it must be. So this is what I'm going to do, and so this is how these big companies make their money. Like Weight Watchers, Juice Plus, Herbalife, and it's all an absolute load of shite. Every single bit of it. Do you know what I mean? It's fast ways to make money. Do you know what I mean? It's like, of course you're going to lose weight, mate. You're fucking drinking 2 protein shakes a day. Do you know what I mean? But you're not only losing weight, you're actually end up skinny fat. You're losing muscle and gaining more body fat. Do you know what I mean? You're like, I've lost 2 stone. I says, you've lost fucking 2 stone in muscle and water, mate. That's all you've lost. And as soon as you can have 2 shakes, you're going to fucking rebound like an elephant. Do you know what I mean? And just as soon as you put something else in your mouth. So that's how that kind of spiral works. They think they initially lose weight because they're taking shakes, but when they're not actually losing weight, they're, as I said to you, they're losing muscle and water. And they think, right, I'm losing weight. And as soon as they stop the shakes, they put the weight back on and think, right, I better get back on the shakes because that's when I lost. Do you know what I mean? So it's just this kind of vicious cycle. And this is what all these big companies do to try and make money, when it's just as simple as go to the gym and eat right. Do you know what I mean? And it will stay off, and it's healthy, and it's the way it should be done.
I tell you, I don't know if you know, I had a pretty horrific injury last year. So basically, I snapped my leg in half, right? So
Jesus.
Yeah, so I like split my kneecap in two, took my patella tendon off, did my ACL, and snapped my hamstring. Right.
That sounds lovely.
So you've only put off your dinner, you're off it now. But so I basically couldn't walk for 10 months, right? So I've only been walking again for 2 or 3 months, Chris.
Jesus.
So the problem was keeping the weight off because you're just so inactive, mate. So I think I've lost like 2 stone or something.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm 6'3" and I'm now 16 stone. And but I was up at like 18, man. I wasn't exactly aerodynamic.
To quote another podcast guest, Jim O'Brien, you were eating bouncy castles.
I was looking a bit carby, right?
I got that as well.
But the problem for me is now that, and maybe you can advise me on this, that because my injury still a year on, so it was last August, so more or less a year on, still hasn't fully healed, right? And there are a whole host of exercises that I just can't do, and weight bearing, just can't do it. Like I can't squat, I can't run. Like if I'm running,
whether you could do that before,
but I mean it, mate. If I'm late for the train, just wait for the next one.
I'm waiting for half an hour.
So, what would you advise to a gentleman like me who has got limited mobility, but still? I mean, I've always been active, mate. Chris and I both played football at a high level. We're always fit and healthy. But just life gets in the road, and then an injury hits you. You kind of think, right, well, fucking, what did I do? So, advice.
So, so most of all, it needs to start with diet. It's diet is absolutely key, mate. As I say, you can't out-train a bad diet, and especially if you're not active at all, you really need to, be careful of what you're putting in your mouth, basically. So, you need to always kind of make sure you're in.
Who have you been talking to?
Chris gave me a wee phone earlier.
It's been gobbling for dollars.
We're just good pals, honest. We're just good mates.
So I basically, so you need to, if you want to watch the weight, then you kind of really need to make sure that you're almost kind of in a deficit if you're not really wanting to kind of gain any weight. So you just need to kind of watch what kind of foods and stuff that you intake on a daily basis, and kind of stay active in other ways. So if you're not able to like run or squat, then just go out kind of long walks and stuff that's going to get your heart rate elevated, and then you can still train like up.
I've been cycling and I've been hill walking a lot. So my diet's clean, real clean. Chris will tell you, man. Like apart from like the odd time when I'm getting mad. But like I mean, on a daily basis, mate, it's chicken, veg, and like on its own, mate. Like because I know
it's no competition, man.
Look at you!
Look at me! Look at me, Kirk. My diet's clean and honest.
Shut up, man! You put cheese in your
better
curry
than
sauce, you fat ride. Sitting there squeezed into that t-shirt, love packed into it, you prick. Right, anyway.
Hey, there we go.
Anyway, now that I've taken the bait. No, but I started hill walking, mate. And the thing with hill walking, we were like the boys that I was doing it with, we were doing like 4 or 5 Monroes a day. So we were doing. So it was that last time we did one called Anne Castile, and I burned 4,500 calories in one day.
Brilliant.
Right. So,
and then when him a kebab.
No, mate. Came home.
And consumed 5.
No, mate, literally, mate. I felt that sick. I couldn't eat. Like my legs were fucking rattling and all that. I couldn't eat, mate. It was dreadful. So I do that like maybe once or twice a week. So it's just right. So but the problem is, like you said, you can't go to the gym or anything, don't you?
No.
But I've been cycling and all that, and like, don't get me wrong, it seems to have worked. But I've always been like when I was younger, I had a bit of shape about me and stuff like that. But it's just how to get, like, is there anything that I could be doing? This podcast turned into, Kirk, help Greg.
So, as I said, if you keep more active, if you keep the hill walks up, and as I said, cycling, if you kind of keep active on a daily basis, like, do something each day. But as I said, if your legs are still kind of jacked, then you can still do upper body. Do you know what I mean? So you can get yourself some stuff for the house, and you can still do upper body workouts. You can still do your shoulders, your chest, your back, your arms. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Until your leg kind of starts to kind of get a bit better, and then you can slowly introduce very lightweight, even body weight kind of lower stuff, and just to build up that strength as well. I actually have a client just now who broke his knee as well, and I'm just kind of building his legs back as well just now, very slowly, starting with kind of lightweight, doing single leg stuff, and just slowly trying to bring that strength back again and building that muscle back. But it's just about really keeping active and keep watching what you're consuming on a daily basis, and keeping the kind of calories low whilst you're not active, basically. But as I said, if you can still do your hill climbing and try and be active daily, because you don't want to just be active like once or twice a week. Do you know what I mean? It's and it goes as well. Like, you could have good 2 days, but you could have a shite 5 days. So if you keep that consistency and keep that regular routine, consistency is key in this game to getting results. It's just about being. Anybody can have a good day, 2 good days, 3 good days, but it's having those good days every single day. Do you know what I mean? Is what keeps your body moving forward and keeps you progressing. Yeah. So just watching the diet, and as I said, if you're not wanting to gain any weight and you want to keep the weight off, just make sure you're kind of in a deficit until you can kind of get heavy weight training again, and then, as I said, you can push the calories back up and start building the muscle again.
Yeah. So that kind of leads me into my next wee segue, where I want to talk about Olympus, because you've done well, mate. I've seen the wee adverts for the DVDs and all that. Right, you're doing well, pal. I've seen it, mate. It's looking good, man. I even liked the pose you were pulling. You were looking. I had to double take, and I was like, "Is that Kirk?" So tell us. So when it first started, obviously, back then to where it is now, did you one, imagine that it would have come this far, and two, where do you want it to go?
So I've now been a personal trainer, what, 8 years, roughly. So as I said before, once I'd done it, so I was still actually a joiner and still teaching dance as I was doing my qualification for personal training. So I was just doing it in my own time, basically kind of self-study thing, and then you took your exams when you're ready to take your exams kind of thing. So I was doing that in between my other two jobs, and I actually got so I ended up getting qualified, but I was still working as a joiner. And my dad actually came up to me one day and he was like, Kirk, I no longer have any work, so basically you're fucked. I was like, all right, cheers. I've just got myself my first house, my first mortgage. I'm like, fuck, what do I do? I was like, yeah, so it was great. It was fantastic. Best news I had. So I just thought, fuck, what am I going to do? So I was panicking, and then I thought, right, I've got a PT qualification here. Like, maybe this is the time. So I've been qualified for about 6 months. I just, when you're stuck in that routine, my biggest advice to anybody that's going out on themselves is just take the leap, just go for it, just take the chance. Worst case scenario, you end up back where you are. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing that can really go drastically wrong. So, but if I think he never told me that basically I've not got a job for you anymore, then I'll probably still be a joiner to this day, to be honest with you, because you're scared to take that risk. So that was a Friday, basically got laid off, and I applied to work in LA Fitness Gym in town, and they told me I had to go and do a business course to get to work for them. So I basically went down to London on that Monday, done a 2-day business course, came back up and started in the gym on that Wednesday, and I've never looked back since.
Well done, mate. That's brilliant.
It was I'm not gonna lie, the first 6 months were an absolute struggle, and my wife was probably kind of keeping me going. She didn't earn a lot of money back then either, so we were just basically scrimping by, and I was lucky if I was doing maybe 5 sessions a week, 6 sessions a week. I was just taking whatever I had. I was going up, driving away up to town to do 1 session, to drive back home, and going up on a Sunday morning at 7 o'clock to go. And so I was just doing whatever I could to kind of to build it up. The first 6 months were a major struggle, living off credit cards, like just whatever we could to try and get by. And then the second 6 months, so I actually was only in LA Fitness for about 3-4 months. And then it was crazy. The rent was crazy. The rent was like £614 a month to work in there. It was like dearer than my mortgage at the time. Do you know what I mean? So it was absolutely insane. So I actually went to the gym I'm in now, Extreme Gym, and I went there and I had said, I want to train in here. I says, I'm in bodybuilding, I want to train in here. And I was like, right. So I started training there, and I said to the guy, do you know what? I says, mate, can I work in here? And he's like, all right. And I was like, so how much is rent? And he said the rent, and it was like pretty much almost half as what I was paying now. So I was like, right, brilliant. I saved myself money right away. So because the gym that was there was quite intimidating, that the small clients that I did have didn't follow me to Extreme Gym, so I kind of had to start again. So there was that 6 months again. It was a wee bit slower, but it did end up picking up a wee bit faster. And because I'd done my first show and I was in decent shape, I was catching some people's eye, and people were then starting to come to me. And so every year I'd actually I'm a big believer in like the universe and vision boards and stuff like that. And I've done this since day dot. So my first year, as I'd started personal training, I had wrote down my goals, what I wanted to achieve. At the time, I was driving a wee blue Astra. I lived in a wee 2-bedroom semi-detached house in Drumchapel. It was an all right wee life. Do you know what I mean? A very, very, very average, probably below average life, and grateful for it and that. But so I wrote down what I want to achieve. I was like, I'll look at my driving. I drew like a big white Audi, and I was like, I want to earn what I'm earning now as a joiner, as a personal trainer. So I wrote that down, and I wanted to win another show. So I wrote down all this stuff in my vision board. Totally forgot about it. So that's six last months in Extreme Gym. Sorry, first 6 months in Extreme Gym. The year had passed, and I'd looked at my vision board, and I was like, I was looking at that, and I looked at my window, and I had a big white Audi sitting at my front of my car, in front of my driveway, and I'd won my show that year, and I'd actually made 20 grand more that year than what I'd put down on my vision board. So, and each year it's just progressed and got bigger and bigger, and I've done more and more, and it's got to a stage now where I can pick and choose my clients. It's I can work when I want. So I'm really busy doing like 9-10 sessions a day. It's and people are coming to me, like online's really took off, especially in the last like 2-3 years. It's really took off, which is another obviously source of income, which is really good. So you can take clients from all over the world. So I've kind of, PT's always been really good, always busy. But as I said, it's hard graft. You're in the gym 12 hours a day, doing clients back to back as well as training yourself. So I'm in the gym 8 till 8 pretty much Monday to Friday. I've got the weekends off, but the weekends and at night, so night times during the week I'm doing online, and then I've got your online at weekends as well. So it's a massive kind of, I have done well, but you do graft for it. You do work hard for it. Do you know what I mean? It's no easy money. People think they're PT and you just on there. And I'm like, but you don't really understand what goes behind the scene. Like, got over 100 clients, so every single client is texting you on a daily basis, and every single one's getting an individual tailored diet to themselves that needs tweaked and changed constantly, and everybody's got their issues or their injuries or their personal issues, and you're constantly getting this daily basis. So you're on your phone like 24/7 all the time, and it can be a bit annoying and it's a bit rude, but it is part of your job and it's what you do. People rely on you. You're not just a personal trainer, you're like a therapist as well in some ways. You know what I mean? No, totally. Like, some of the stories you hear, like you'll probably hear that everybody tells all their secrets to their hairdressers and their personal trainers. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely madness. So yeah, but I've done really well with it, and as the years have been on, I've just progressed and done better and better. So I went from the personal training, then moved on to the online. So I had that, and then I've now started a website, which is more like a shop where you just go on and purchase like one-off plans and stuff. So that will just sit there as well. Kind of venturing into clothing, and my next step, which I was actually just about to do before COVID-19 hit, was I was in the process of opening my own gym. So, so that was my kind of,
free memberships for the boys.
Yeah, that was kind of the next phase, and so I'm kind of still going through that process just now. So, but that is the kind of the next stage in my business and my career just now is focusing on that. So I was actually taking this year out anyway from competing to focus on business and to open a gym and kind of progress that way as well, because at the end of the day I don't really want to be in a gym 12 hours a day PTing people back to back. I've been doing it for 7 years now, and it is hard work, and as I said, I'm a dad now and stuff like that, so it's you need to kind of be a family man as well and spend more time at home and stuff like that. So the process of opening a gym is to allow me to have more time for myself, even though it's going to be another business on top of my other ones. It's going to allow me to have a bit more free time. So if I've got an income coming in, passive income coming in that I don't actually need to be there, then I don't need to do as much personal training. So I'm going to really just try and, absolutely. So that's my motto. I've always kind of done that, is to work less and earn more. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to kind of live by that and kind of really push that. So yes, I'm really going to try.
It's the difference between providing a service and providing a product. If you provide a service, it's man hours, isn't it? And that you've physically got to be, and it puts a cap on how much you can earn, because you're only one guy, you know.
Absolutely. That's what I kind of realised. The last kind of 2 years, I've kind of earned roughly the same, not a massive increase on annual salary. But each year for the last 7 years, it's went up drastically every single year. But I've noticed the last 2 years, I thought, right, it's kind of hovering around about the same, slightly up, but nothing to shout about. So I thought, right, I need to try and find other ways of making money. So the online is good when it's good. So, but that can fluctuate. That can go right up to 70, 80, 90 online clients a month to drop down to 40, 50 or less or 30. Do you know what I mean? So that's always up and down. That's always been like that for years. So that's not really a steady income, but that is something I really want to push. And I would rather do more online than I would actually want to be face-to-face in the gym with a client. And it's not that I would still do one-to-one. I would just do less of it. I would only maybe do 4 or 5 clients a day. I'd be quite happy with that and have the rest of the day to myself.
Why is that?
So it's just because I just don't want to be in the gym back to back all day. I would like to just go in, do maybe 4 or 5 hours in the gym, train myself, and then come home and spend the time with my family, or spend time for myself, or do something that I enjoy, and maybe pick up another hobby and something like that, just to kind of get away from it. Because as I said, it's not just your work, it's your passion and it's your hobby, and it's everything you do. So when you're physically in the gym 6 days a week, do you know what I mean, and you're in there 12 hours a day, it's mentally draining. It's mentally draining.
You could maybe go back to dance class, mate.
So no, I definitely need to come up with another hobby. I think I'm maybe a wee bit too big for that now, right enough. But
Actually, I was going to say, are you still able to dance? Like, are you still?
well, see, but this is actually quite funny actually. So obviously you've had a TikTok, haven't you?
I have.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, what's this load of shite, man? It's fucking come up now. So I kind of took a piss at it. But everybody was kind of getting in it and stuff like that, and I just never really bothered with it. And I was just getting that fed up in the house, so bored. I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to put up a video, but I'm going to not do anything to do with bodybuilding or fitness. I'm going to do something to do with dance. So I had done a trending one of the trending videos that was going about at the time. It was the big one. It was just now that cop car one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On the radio and that now. So I'd done the dance to that, but I kind of done one wee thing to it. So I done a bit of gliding and a bit of popping and stuff to it. And I thought, I'm going to put this up for a laugh. So I put it up for a laugh. I ended up going fucking viral, man. So I was getting like 1,000 followers a day on it. I was getting like 30, 40, 50,000 likes on a video. It's just like absolutely crazy. And it's just purely dance. It's nothing to do with what I actually do. Do you know what I mean? It's just having a fanny about. But I think it's shite, but people think, oh, he's fucking good at dancing. I'm like, I personally don't think I'm good at dancing anymore. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't really back then anyway. Do you know what I mean? But
You never know, mate. That magic mic phone call's coming in, innit?
I quite enjoyed that, but I've not actually done it in a wee while. But I was doing that just for a laugh and a hobby. But I quite enjoyed it.
Nah, good man, good. Right, well, I think we'll call it a night there, gentlemen. Kirk, thanks very, very much, mate. It's been far too long since I've seen that beautiful face of yours. And mate, I think I'm at a young man with your amount of drive and stuff like that. I think the sky's the limit, pal. I genuinely do, mate. You've got a driving motivation that I think is very rare, and I can only commend you on it.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, guys.
No problem at all, man. So I'm going to sign off just now. Thanks for listening, folks. Please hit those like and subscribe buttons.